I'm about to show you a strategy most men quietly avoid. This isn't just about making her fall in love, it's about becoming her standard. The man every other guy is measured against and never quite matches. After you, everyone else feels unfinished. If you're new here, subscribe and stay until the end. Like and share if this resonates. Let's start with the nice guy myth. Since childhood, most men are given the same advice. Be kind, be agreeable, avoid tension, always put her first. They grow up believing that if they are endlessly patient, generous, and accommodating, women will eventually notice and reward them with love. It sounds logical, it sounds fair, but it fails in the real world. Why? Because this approach does not create attraction. It does not build respect. Instead, it creates silent disappointment. Women may smile, they may say thank you, they may even call you sweet, but deep down, something feels missing. There is no spark, no pull, and without that pull, kindness fades into the background. A high-value woman lives in a world of predictable men. She sees the same two weak roles repeated again and again. The first is the controller. This man uses pressure, intensity, or emotional force to get his way. He tries to dominate because underneath he feels unsure of himself. He raises his voice, he demands compliance, and he mistakes intimidation for respect. She may tolerate him for a while, but eventually his inner fragility shows. His strength is temporary. The second is the people pleaser. This man bends himself into knots to keep her comfortable. He avoids disagreement. He says yes to everything. He sacrifices his needs to maintain harmony. At first, it can look caring, but over time, it becomes draining. There is no challenge, no grounded presence, nothing solid to admire. Both men are weak, just wearing different masks. The controller hides weakness with intensity. The people pleaser hides weakness with politeness. And women recognize both. Here's the truth. Women don't want harshness, but they also don't crave endless agreeableness. What they respond to is a man who stands firmly on his own ground, a man who respects himself first, a man who can say no without guilt, a man who doesn't need constant validation to feel valuable. This is why the nice guy keeps losing. Not because kindness is wrong, but because kindness without strength feels empty. Respect comes before romance. Attraction comes before comfort. And when you trade your backbone for approval, you don't win her heart, you lose her respect. The two weak roles, controller or people pleaser, both lead to the same outcome. They both come from dependence. The controller needs control to feel powerful. The people pleaser needs approval to feel worthy. Both place their identity in her hands. And a man who hands over his identity cannot command respect. This is why women instinctively move away from both roles. The controller creates tension, not trust. The people pleaser creates safety, not desire. Neither offers grounded strength. So what does she actually want? Not perfection, not constant gifts, not dominance. She wants a centered man with boundaries. A man who stays calm when emotions rise. A man who isn't shaken by mood swings. A man who respects himself enough to say no, peacefully, and yes without desperation. This man is rare. That's why he's unforgettable. He doesn't raise his voice to prove strength. He doesn't chase validation. He stands in his own frame. And that creates both respect and attraction. The power of calm boundaries. One of the biggest mistakes men make is believing respect comes from never saying no. They think avoiding discomfort will secure love, but it quietly erodes respect. True strength isn't avoiding tension, it's handling it with control. A calm boundary is one of the strongest signals a man can give. Respect doesn't come from fear of losing her, it comes from inner certainty, and women feel the difference instantly. The grounded man can look her in the eye and say no, without anger, guilt, or defensiveness. That no isn't a battle, it's a principle. It says, I value you, and I value myself. And here's the paradox. One calm no is often more powerful than 100 yeses. Every time you say yes while betraying yourself, you lose respect, in her eyes and your own. Every time you hold a boundary with peace, you build trust. This is what women test for, not to break you, but to see if you're real. A man who stays grounded during pressure signals stability, and stability is deeply attractive. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He observed that affection is emotional and changeable, but respect is solid, steady, and enduring. And in attraction, respect is the foundation everything else is built on. The same principle applies to relationships. If she only loves you, that feeling can fade the moment you show uncertainty or when someone new sparks excitement. But if she respects you, that respect becomes the foundation on which love grows stronger over time. So never be afraid to hold your line. Don't raise your voice, don't plead, don't over-explain yourself. Stand firmly in who you are. Speak your truth with calm certainty. Respect her, but respect yourself first. Because in the end, gifts lose their shine, appearances change, and words fade. What lasts is how she felt in your presence. If she felt your strength, your grounded core, your steady boundaries, she will not forget you. That is the power of calm boundaries, silent, firm, and magnetic. Stop chasing peace, build respect. Many men believe the best way to keep a woman is by maintaining peace at all costs. They avoid disagreement. They never challenge. They always say yes. They swallow their opinions. They cancel their plans to fit hers. They nod along even when something inside them disagrees. On the surface, it looks harmless. They believe she'll appreciate the sacrifice. They imagine she'll think, "He's so easy, he's so kind." But the opposite happens. Every time you erase yourself to please her, respect quietly disappears. Every time you silence your voice to avoid tension, trust weakens. Why? Because women don't only look for comfort, they look for stability. They want to know if you can stand firm when life gets difficult. If you cannot protect your time, your direction, and your values, how will you ever protect hers? If you fold at the smallest disagreement, how will you face real storms together? A man who says yes to everything is not seen as kind. He is seen as fragile. He becomes predictable, safe, forgettable. His constant agreement sends a clear message. My world revolves around you. My needs come second. And that doesn't make her feel cherished. It makes her uneasy. A woman does not want the burden of being the center of your universe. She wants to step into the orbit of a man who already has his own path, principles, and mission. That is where she feels safe. That is where attraction lives. Think about it. Avoiding tension may bring short-term peace, but it destroys long-term respect. Deep down, her instinct asks, if he can't stand up to me, how will he stand up for me? True strength is not aggression. It's not volume. It's not control. True strength is calm boundaries. It's being able to look her in the eye and say no when it matters, without anger, without guilt. That single no carries more power than 100 empty yeses. It says, I value you and I value myself. Machiavelli once observed that relying on affection is risky because emotions change. But respect, once earned, is solid and lasting. The same rule applies here. She may appreciate your kindness, but she will only trust and desire you if she respects your strength. So, stop chasing peace like it's the prize. Peace without respect is weakness. Stand firm in your values. Keep your plans when they matter. Speak your truth calmly. Show her that your life doesn't bend with every breeze. Because a woman doesn't crave a man who avoids conflict. She craves a man who can carry both her storms and his own without collapsing. That's how you stop being forgettable and become unforgettable. Sit on your throne. Most men walk into dates with the wrong mindset. They treat it like an interview. They list achievements. They mention income. They talk about trips, titles, and status. They speak endlessly trying to impress. What they don't realize is that every attempt to prove value places her on the throne. She becomes the judge, the authority, the one with approval power, and he becomes the applicant. That frame destroys attraction. A woman cannot desire a man who places himself beneath her. She may admire his success, but she feels no spark. Because the moment you seek approval, you give away your crown. The truth is simple. The frame belongs to you. You are not there to be evaluated. You are not there to perform. You are there as a man with his own world, She is not the prize. You are. She is not the judge. You are calmly assessing whether she fits into your life. This is not arrogance, it's self-respect. True power is quiet. It's self-approval without noise. When you sit on your throne, your presence does the talking. You don't need to list accomplishments. She feels your certainty in your pace, your silence, your attention. The less you try to prove yourself, the more attraction grows. Because you flip the frame. You are no longer seeking entry into her world, you are allowing her into yours, and that shift changes everything. Validate essence, not just appearance. Most men rely on surface-level compliments. You're beautiful. You're stunning. She's heard it countless times. Those words fade quickly because they require no awareness. If you want to stand out, listen deeper. When she shows insight, creativity, or depth, pause. Then acknowledge that. That's sharp. I like how you think. Now you've shown standards. You don't validate everyone. You notice what others miss. That makes her feel seen, not admired, but understood. And that is unforgettable. Machiavelli once warned rulers not to build their power on fortune, things that can be taken away, but on their own virtues. The same rule applies here. Don't build your interactions on fortune, like her appearance or her approval. Build them on your standards, on your ability to recognize depth. Fortune fades, virtue endures. And here's the hidden advantage. When you validate her essence, she begins to crave your recognition more than anyone else's. Why? Because while most men compete for her beauty, you are the one who reached for something deeper. She will want to reveal more of herself, her thoughts, her layers, her real nature, just to earn that rare acknowledgement from you. This is the real power of validation. Don't repeat what every other man says. Don't reward the surface. Validate her essence. Show her that you see more, because you are more. And when you do, you stop being another face in the crowd. You become the one she remembers. When she tests you, be the rock. Once a woman respects you, something natural happens. She tests you, not to tear you down, but to answer a deeper question. Is this man real? Can he handle me? Can I trust him with all of me? My emotions, my intensity, my storms? Most men fail this test. Some get defensive and over-explain. No, that's not what I meant. Others react with anger and try to push back. Some rush to fix her mood just to make the tension disappear. But every reaction sends the same message. Her emotions control you. And the moment she feels that, attraction weakens. The truth is simple. She doesn't want a man who bends under her moods. She wants a man who remains steady even when she isn't. That's why your role is not to react. Your calm expression, your relaxed posture, your slow, grounded tone. These communicate more strength than any argument ever could. You don't fight her energy, you absorb it. You steady it, you return it calmer than it arrived. Think of waves crashing into a rock. The water roars, the waves strike. The rock does not explain itself, it does not fight, it does not move. And because it remains, the storm passes. That is how you must be. Her emotions are the waves. Your presence is the rock. Build a fortress. Composure over chaos. True emotional strength isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about feeling deeply without letting emotions take control, yours or hers. Most of the time, her intensity isn't about you. It's energy searching for a container strong enough to hold it. That's where your role begins. Be that container. Calm, grounded, unshaken. When the storm rises, don't get pulled in and don't resist it. Let it crash and fade. The moment she realizes you cannot be moved, she feels a level of safety she rarely experiences. And that safety is not built from weakness or surrender. It comes from composure. That composure transforms you into the man she respects and desires, because in the end, she doesn't fall for the man dragged into her chaos. She falls for the man who brings her peace. Purpose above romance. A calm presence cannot be faked. It comes from having a mission larger than her. The greatest mistake a man can make is turning a woman into his entire purpose. That weight suffocates attraction and turns connection into pressure. A woman does not want to be your whole world. She wants to be part of a man who already has one. Build something meaningful. Develop skills. Chase growth. create value, compete with who you were yesterday, serve a vision beyond romance. When you live with purpose, your time becomes scarce, your attention becomes valuable, and that changes everything. She stops seeing you as another man asking for space in her life. She starts seeing you as the man whose life she wants to join. Purpose makes you magnetic. You don't chase her into your world, she asks for a place in it. Be unforgettable by being unshakable. Clear boundaries, your own throne. A mission bigger than the relationship.